Hi everyone and welcome in a new video. As we all know, SQL uses tables to store and manage data. Table in a SQL Server is a combination of rows and columns. So in order to create a table, we have to use SQL create table statement. The syntax for the SQL Server create table is the following one. So as you can see here, let's zoom. Okay, we will start with create table. And with mentioning the table name, the name of the first column, the type, the data type, with mentioning also the size and specifying if it's null or it's not null. Okay, let's copy the first one. Okay, so let's talk one by one. The table name. So if you write the already existing table name, it will throw an error. The column name, unique column names required for this table and for all the tables in the SQL Server will hold. For example, int, money, var, inchar, and date. The size is the data types like varchar and varchar char expects the size. So please provide valid number here in this place. So null or not null. If you select the null option, then colon will accept both normal values and the null values. Otherwise, it will throw an error saying colon should not be empty. Okay, so we will make a change here. So we will not keep it in this way. Now we understand each. For example, here let's set store. Okay, this one let's set store key, for example. Let's type it in this way. Okay, store key. The data type, we will put it int, and we will specify that it's not null. Oh, store key. Okay, name. Obviously, it's the name of the store. let's put it. Let's make some changes. Okay, it's null, and the data type is for char. Okay, and the size, for example, 200. Okay, the third column, let's set, for example, date of purchase, for example. Okay, so it's with the data type is date, and let's specify null, for example. So email address of each store. Let's copy from this. Let's put it as varchar 200, and it's null. Okay, so as you can see here, we have create syntax of create table with the name store. Let's execute. So as you can see here, the command is executed successfully. As you can see, the newly created table in SQL Server Object Explorer. So from the above SQL Server create table code, you can observe that we declared here, as you can see here, 4 columns. The first column is store key of integer data type, and it will not allow not null values. So the name of name column belongs to varchar data type, and it allows null values. We also assign it the size to 200. It means both the columns will accept up to 200 characters, and the third column is that of purchase of the product, and allows nulls, and the data type is date. Okay, so and the this column should allow us to enter data values only. And the last one, the fourth one, is email address, and is belong to n varchar data type, and it will allow null values. Okay, so now let's check if the table, this new table exists or no in this database. So let's click on refresh button. You can also click on F5. Let's go to the tables. We can do a filter. So as you can see here, the name of the table is store. So let's apply our filter. So as you can see here, we have 2 tables. This the one that we are created, and this is one that include the store the store the store word in its name. Okay, so as I said, as a type as a tip type, if you didn't find the newly created table, please click on the refresh button in Object Explorer. Okay, this one, or click on F5. Okay, so we are going now to create a table with identity column. So in the next example, we create a table with identity column in SQL Server. For this, we define the store key column as identity column. This will auto generate numbers starting with 1 and incremented by 1. This is optional. If you want, you can remove identity 1 portion completely. Okay, so we are going to to create a new table. So with the name store1, and this one will be not just uh, a normal column, but it will be a primary key, not a primary key, I'm sorry, identity column. Okay, so let's add the syntax identity 1 Okay, so let's click on execute. The command completed successfully. Okay, so let's make a refresh. So as you can see here, we have our new table created successfully, store1. Okay, this one. Okay, so let's create now a table with a primary key. Okay, so how to create a table in SQL Server with primary key column? We just add the primary keyword to our store key. Okay, now let's create a new query. Let's paste this one. We will create a new table store 2. Okay, so after not null, we will add the word primary key. Okay, I believe that we can add as, but it's no, we can't add. Okay, I'm sorry for that. So only primary key. Let's execute. So the command created successfully. Okay, so now let's refresh. Okay, uh okay, so as you can see here, we have primary key, which is with the name store key. Okay, primary key int not null, identity int 1 Okay, so let's create now table with all constraints. So how to create table in SQL Server with identity column, primary key column, unique column, and check constraint. So I'm just suggesting to refer to primary key, unique key, default constraint, and check constraint articles. So we will see now. We will make a constraint. Let's create a constraint. So uh, on the name, okay. Constraint. Let's name it with this name. Okay, check. Name like a a. Okay. What do you think? Okay, let's click. So, I'm sorry. We already have the store two, as you can see, as a name of another table. So let's create a new table with the name store three. Okay, so as you can see here, the comment completed successfully. So let's make a refresh to see. Okay, this one. Let's expand this one and let's see the constraints. Let's create, as you can see here. See, this is our constraint that we made. Okay, so let's now create a SQL create table from another table. So it provides select into statement to create a table using an existing table along with data, if any. So the data that we are going to use. Okay. So okay, so let's delete the folder. Let's now choose this one, this query select. Okay, let's move top 1000. Okay, select into, let's let's copy this one, department example. Okay, let's execute. Okay, let's now apply the filter. Let me refresh in the first place and let me apply the filter on the name of the table. So as you can see here, we have only one. So as you can see here, we have 16 lines, rows from the department. Okay. So to create a new table, you can also click on tables, expand the objects explorer. Okay. And let's expand the databases and choose the tables, new table, and it will, okay. So you can now create the table, a table with specific. Once you select the table option, the following window will be opened to type the column name, data type, and checkbox to decide whatever the column allows null values or not. So as you can see here, let's set, for example, name type, let's set and varchar not max, for example, 2000s. The other one is, let's make it store, sorry, store key. It's obviously int. Okay, it should be here. Yeah. So it's not null. So as you can see here, authorize the null values. It's deactivated. You can't do that. Okay. And let's, that's all. Okay. You can uh, continue uh, with typing the other column's name and specifying the type, data type, and specifying if the value are allowing the null or no. Okay. So as you can see here, so if we want to specify if it's identity or not, so uh, so I'm going to show you how to add an identity column to already created table using Management Studio. First, select the column and go to column properties tab. So is if it's identity or not. So in this case, it's not, but we will change it to yes. And okay. So once you finish creating the table, please click on the Save button and rename the table name. So the table, let's make it store example this time. Okay, let's copy this one before click OK. Okay, so let's filter. I'm refreshing and now I'm filtering with the name of the last uh, table that we created. Okay, so as you can see here, let's generate script create 2. As you can see here, store key is int identity int 11, not null. Okay, okay, you can use insert to insert data in the tables, in the empty tables that we already created. Okay, so that's all for this video. I hope that you enjoy it. Please comment with your feedback, what you want to see and what you want to see in next videos. I hope that you enjoyed this one. Please don't forget to click on the like button, notification button, and subscribe button. And see you in next videos, and bye. Okay, see you. Hi everyone and welcome back in a new video. Today I'm going to present to you SQL create table statement. As we all know, tables are useful for storing and managing data, and it is a combination of rows and columns. For this we have to use SQL Server create table statement, and here is the basic syntax. So as you can see here, I'm using an online uh, SQL compiler, but it doesn't matter. The syntax remain the same. Here is create table, table name. Here we mention the column name and the data type and the size. Okay, let me see here. As you can see, the table name, if you write the already existing name, it will throw an error. Column name, unique column in the table of null or not nulls. Okay, data type, a valid data type that the column will hold. For example, int, money, varchar, varchar, date, data time, etc. The size, data types like varchar, varchar, and char expect the size. So please mention that and mention a valid number. Null or not null. Here, as you can see here, you have to mention if it is null or not null. If you select the null option, then the column will accept both normal values and null values. Otherwise, it will throw an error saying column should not be empty. Okay. Now let me just do an example. So as you can see here in the compiler, the online compiler contains 3 tables already. So let's add, for example, product or products. Okay, let me did something like this. Okay, product key, for example, int, and we mention it as not null. Okay, product name, for example, and varchar, for example, 255, the size, or and it's null, for example. Product, for example, region, and varchar, for example, 200, and maybe it's null. Okay, and let's execute or let's run. And as you can see here, the output is SQL query successfully executed. However, the result set is empty. It means that the table products is empty, as you can see here. Okay, so our first column is product key of integer data type, and it will not allow null values. Okay, so as you can see here, the product name and the product regions are with the same type, which is nvarchar, and with the different size. The first one is 255 and the second one is 200. Okay, let's now create a new table with identity column. So we are going to create a table with an identity column. For this, we are going to define an identity column. For example, let's rename this products 1, and the product key is the identity 1, the identity column. So we will add this statement, as you can see here. So product key int identity 11 not null. Okay, and as you can see here, we have a new table with product 1 and with an identity column. Okay, now let's add the primary key. So let's create a new table products 2, and let's add the primary key, for example ID or product ID. Okay, product ID, and it's, for example, int. Okay, and it's not null, and we mentioned that it's a primary key. Okay, as you can see here, let's run the SQL query, and as you can see here, we have the product 2. So as you can see here, product ID is the primary key, the primary key. The product key is identity 11 not null. Product name is with nvarchar type, and product region with nvarchar type also. Okay, now let's create a table with identity, primary key, unique, and check constraint. Okay, and for that I'm going to create a new different table. So as you can see here, customers, one. So as you can see here, the first one is ID. Okay, with the type int, and let's add identity 1 1 not null. Okay, and let's change it to customer key, for example, and let's add it as the primary key. Okay, so it's int, not null, and we mention it as a primary key. Here, let's make some changes. For example, here, first name, as you can see. Let's keep this not null, but let's change it to not null. And last name, for example, and varchar, and let's put it as not null. Okay, now let's add the colon age. So it's int and could be null. No problem with that. Okay, so for example, profession, and it's n varchar, let's say 150, and not null, and default is, for example, doctor. Okay. Okay, and let's add constraint. Constraint. Okay. So with the name of the constraint, for example, let's put it in this way. Okay. Each is superior or equal to 30, for example. Okay. SQL default constraint is used to assign default values to the table columns. In general, every column accepts either nulls or values. If the user forgets to enter the value, the SQL server will assign a null value to the column. In those cases, we can use the SQL Server default constraint to replace those nulls with the standard value. So as you can see here, if we forget to enter a value for the profession, it's going to enter by default a doctor. Let's now talk about check constraint. Okay, so SQL Server check constraint will limit the data inserted into the table columns. So for example, if we want to restrict the number of digits in a phone number or limit the customer's age here, for example, to superior or equal to 30, then we can assign check constraint to that column. Thank you a lot for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed. Please don't forget to leave your feedback and what you want to see in next videos. Bye for now, and see you in next videos. Hi everyone, and welcome in a new video. The SQL select statement retrieves data from the one or more database tables. In this video, we are going to show you how to write select in SQL Server with examples. Let's start with the syntax of the SQL Server select statement. So this is a comment. Select SQL Server select statement. Select will be colon names from source. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the syntax of the SQL Server select statement. So the columns, you are going to select one or more number of columns from the SQL tables. The SQL select statement returns all the records present in the table. If you want to restrict the rows, then please use the where clause or top clause. And to select data from multiple database tables, you can use joins. So we are going to use this table to explain more the select statement. So as you can see here, we have this query, which is select. Let's delete this one. We don't need the top statement or the top clause, and select all those are all the column names of this table, employee table. So select SQL select all columns example, this one. So we are going to present it with the select all columns. So you can, instead of doing this, you can do this query, select star from the same number, the same name of table. Let's execute. Let's execute the both at the same time, and let's see the output. So as you can see here is the same output, okay, with the same number of rows, 2090 rows. Okay, so in this SQL select statement example, we select all the columns present in this employee table. So in select statement, the star is the shortcut to represent all the available columns in the source tables. Okay, so but we have problems we select star from. So first of all, the SQL select from star from statement will retrieve all the columns from the table. Most of Most of the time we do not require all the columns in the table. So please avoid using this statement for selecting all the column names. The select star from will select the columns in the default order. Sometimes we may need to change the order of the columns while displaying them. And finally, if there are any changes made in the underlying table, recording columns, removing or adding columns will not reflect the views creating using select star. Okay, so please don't use SQL select star from statement in real time, even to retrieve all the columns present in a table. The second approach, placing all the columns names after the select keyword. So for instance, the above, as you can see, we are going to change this one. We are going to choose only the wanted columns. Let's execute. As you can see here, and we are going to select few columns, not all of them. So in real time, selecting all columns in a table is not the case. So you can restrict the columns in SQL Server select statement, because there will be some columns such as the ones that we already deleted, we are going not we are not going to use, and which may not require in our select statement. So we are going to select only the necessary the columns that we want to display, and we help us to take decisions or to create joins, etc. Okay. Note, if you forget the comma between the columns, then SQL Server assumes the second column as the alias column for the first column. So please be careful. Okay. So select statement in Management Studio. Within the Management Studio, navigate to the required database and then select the required table. Right click on the wanted table, and we'll open the context menu with different options, as you can see here, and select top 1000 rows. And as you can see here, we have the top close. From the above context menu, we have to select top 1000 rows, as we said, and this option generates this SQL Server select statement for us to see all the records. Remove the top close top 1000 from the above statement. Okay. So that's all for our video. I hope that you enjoyed. This is the third video for the SQL syntax course. I hope that you enjoyed. Please don't forget to check my last videos, and to give me your feedback. Also, don't forget to to click on the like button, subscribe button, and to leave a comment with in which you want to see in next videos, and with your feedback from these videos. I hope also to mention the topics that you want to see in SQL and in Power BI, SSRS, SSAS, SSES, Tableau software, etc. Everything in business intelligence. Thanks all again for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and see you in next videos. Bye. Hi everyone, and welcome a new video. Today we are going to discover together the alias SQLs using SQL Server Management Studio. So don't go anywhere, and let's start our video. So as all we know, the SQL alias is used to rename the table names and column headings temporarily. In SQL Server, sometimes column names will not be user friendly, so we have to change them using SQL alias. So as usual, I'm going to use Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Also, I'm going to use the AdventureWorks version 2012 database. And for this example, this video, I'm going to choose this table with the name product, and with the schema production. Okay. So for instance, for example, here we have product ID, which is all in one word. So we can store it as you can see here. Let's change. Okay, so we can change it to be, let's make a zoom. Okay, we can change it to be in this way. So as you can see here, it's one word. When we execute, it's the alias. We use this new alias, and we see in the result the product ID with space between the two words. Also, we can use this one. Let's execute, and as you can see, it's a different alias. Okay. So it was annoying to see the column headings like this one. So we sometimes for some managers and some developers, they prefer this one. So we change it when we are using our queries, such as the select queries. So we don't have new alias, and we use it temporary, as we said. Okay. So in a query, alias as a keyword is optional. So it's up to us to include it or not. We can use this data to explain the SQL alias column names. So as you can see here, this data, we can just not use this alias. Let's remove it. Let's execute. Nothing is happening, no errors. We can also make it back. Okay, so it's up to us to keep the alias or just uh, put it away. Okay, so let's now go to the examples of alias. So the first example, we are going to rename the column names in the above specified table, which is this one, and and uh, we are going to rename the product ID, one word, to this one, as we did. So let's execute this query. So nothing is happening. Okay, so let's now doing another thing. So I'm going to now to make the example 2, which is we are going to add the name and the product name to create a new column, which is let's name it product name and number. Okay, so let's create new column name. Let's copy also the product number. Okay, let's make space between the both of them, and let's rename it to this one, product name and number. Okay, so let's execute. Now, as you can see here, we already have the name column. We already have the product number column, and here this is the combination, the concatenation of these two columns. So we have a new column, which is the product name and number name. Okay, So let's now going to the third example. So we can also apply the alias names to calculated columns, mathematical calculations. So we are going to apply on two on two two columns, which are the safety stock level. It's a number, and the list of the price, or let me see. Okay, we can use this. It's one of them is obviously is an integer or a big integer, and the second one is a float. So no problem. Okay, so let me see here. We have here safety stock level. Let's change the place of the column when we execute this query or we run this query, and let's make it of the list price, and let's add, as we did here above, let's add a new column temporary for this SQL query. So as we did and as we said, we are doing this. Safety stock level and multiple by the list price, and let's set uh, safety stock level price. Okay, just I'm using a random name, but it's close to this two columns. So let's execute. So as you can see here, we have a new column, which is safety stock level price. So it's not here we have some values which are different than 0. So we can use this example as a calculated column. Okay. So I hope that's all for our video. I hope that you enjoyed. Please don't forget to click on the subscribe button, on the like button, and comment what you want to see and your feedback from this video. I am preparing now. This is the fourth, I believe, the fourth video in the SQL series. I hope that you enjoy it. So don't forget to subscribe to this to our channel, and to uh, share this video everywhere for you with your friend and your colleagues, uh, thanks all for the support, and see you in next video, and bye. Okay, have a good day.